Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a brand new 2024 Lincoln Corsair. And today, I'm gonna review it for you guys. And I am pretty confident I can win you over into wanting to purchase this SUV with just one sentence. This has massaging seats. When I found out that Lincoln was willing to provide this Corsair for me to review, I was super excited because up until filming this video, I admittedly didn't know a lot about the Lincoln brand. Well, other than the Matthew McConaughey commercials, of course.
One of the greatest feelings that I've ever experienced in my life is driving through the countryside with my windows down, letting the wind flow through the cabin. That's why I love the ventilated seats on my Lincoln, because it's like wind, but for my lower back and my butt.
Anyway, moving to the front end, you'll have full LED headlights right here with LED daytime running lights and LED turn signals. These headlights do a couple of cool things that I really like. For one, as you turn the wheel, the headlights actually adjust as well. They'll turn with the wheel to give you better visibility. That's really awesome. And when you turn the high beams on, they're soft high beams, which adds to the luxury feel of this SUV. Moving into the center of the grille, you'll get the Lincoln logo. Below that is a camera for the 360-degree camera. And there are parking sensors very cleverly integrated into the grille here. Moving underneath the hood, this is powered by a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder that makes 250 horsepower and 275 pound-feet of torque. And that is paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission. Moving to the profile of the Corsair, this has what Lincoln calls the Jet Appearance Package, which is essentially their blackout package, and I think it looks fantastic, especially with these 20-inch wheels. They are really sleek. You'll get 245/45R Continentals around that wheel. And then moving up here, you will have your Corsair badge, turn signal indicators incorporated into the mirror cap. These mirrors also have blind spot monitoring, power adjusting, and power folding. Then moving down here, you will have keyless entry, so if you have the key in your pocket, you can just tap lock, and that will lock the vehicle, and then you can put your hand back here, and that will unlock the vehicle. This also has the passcode system that's available in a lot of Fords and Lincoln products, so if you'd like to lock your keys purposefully inside the Corsair, you can do that. Let's say you're going on a hike, or maybe you're going to the beach and you don't want to bring your keys. You can create a code, and so you can lock everything inside. That is really neat. And then moving further down the profile here, I love these taillights. I've always loved the LED light bar that Lincoln has done in recent years. I think it looks really sleek, especially at nighttime. This SUV has a very stylish look in general. Moving down here, you'll have dual exhaust and then parking sensors slightly above that, a backup camera incorporated in below that light bar. And now to talk about the liftgate, there are a few different ways to open it. For one, this is becoming more common. You can swipe your foot underneath. That will open up the liftgate. That's very convenient. And then there is a button up here you can tap to close it. You, of course, also have a button right here if you want to open it. And there is also a button on the key fob. This key fob has quite a lot of, come on, focus, there we go, quite a lot of different buttons on it. For starters, you'll have lock, unlock, panic, remote start, which is nice. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the ability to open up the rear. Lots of different ways to do it if you want. Moving into the rear here, you have a pretty decent amount of cargo space back here, even with the second row seats up. You also have a 12-volt back here, and there is a little LED and some storage cubbies on the side. You do get a donut, which is nice to see that it's not just a fix-a-flat back here. You actually get a tire, so that I really appreciate. And then you'll have buttons right here to drop the second row seats, which is cool. It does not, however, give you the ability to raise them back up, only to drop them, but it is convenient. You also do have manual controls to do that on the sides if you open the doors, if you'd like to lower those seats as well. Enough about the outside. Let's take a look at the inside. Moving to the interior of the Corsair, and by golly gee willikers, as there's sure a lot of features I need to talk about in here. But let's start with the door panel, and then I will move my way across the rest of the front, and then we'll move to the back. So for starters, this is very nice soft touch up here. This is soft touch as well. Most of the interior here is a very premium soft touch material in some regard, so get used to me saying that because it really does feel very comfortable. Over here, you'll have your power seat controls. There's actually some neat features you might not expect. For starters, you'll see two little buttons up here. If you press the one forward, that's actually going to move part of the leg support, and then I can switch the buttons and move the leg support up or down, whatever way you want. There's a lot of customization there, which is really cool. Then you'll have your memory settings, and if you hit this button right here, that will bring us into the screen, which will give us adjustment settings, but also massage. Yes, as I mentioned in the intro, this is the massage setting, and there's not just one, there's a lot of different massaging things that you can do here. I really like that functionality. Obviously, you can't feel it, but trust me, it's very comfortable. I'll tell you, leaving the gym has been really, really nice with the massage functionality. It's very premium. And then you'll have a speaker for the Revel sound system. This is a 14 speaker system. Your window and mirror controls, as well as lock and unlock. And then I really like how the door handle kind of blends into this chrome trim right here. I think it's a good look overall. You'll have a climate vent down here and another button to open up your rear lift gate. There are just so many ways to do that. And then you also have your lighting controls down here. The steering wheel is power, tilt, and telescoping, which is cool to see. Moving up to the steering wheel itself, it is very comfortable, and I like how the voice command button is right here where you'd place your thumb. I guess Lincoln expects you to be asking your car a lot of different questions. Now this works, you can change the channel, go to different audio sources, and you can just talk to it, which is really nice. And then of course you can also ask your device of choice that's connected to play whatever song you'd like. So that's very useful. And then over here you'll have your volume controls, and this is the cruise control button. As you can see, it's lit up by itself, but these two piano black wings down here further on the steering wheel aren't lit up with anything. But if I click this, boom, they light up with all the buttons. I think that's really cool. And then if I want to turn it off, it goes away, a more subtle appearance. That is very neat. This has Lincoln Blue Cruise, which is not fully self-driving, but it is hands-free driving on the highway. Right here on the steering wheel, you'll have your buttons to control the fully digital gauge cluster screen. There isn't a ton of customization here, but there are a few things that you can cycle through, which is nice, including navigation, your music, tire pressure, and other settings like that. The steering wheel also has paddle shifters, and you'll get a heads-up display on the windshield here. I know you probably can't see it super well, so I'll cut to a clip. It does not actually flash in real life. That's just a camera refresh rate issue. But what's really cool about this heads-up display is it gives you a lot of different things on your windshield. Moving to the infotainment screen, there is a lot to talk about here, because there's a lot incorporated into it. As you saw a little earlier in the video, the massaging seats and the seat adjustment for lumbar and such are incorporated into this screen. I don't mind that because you don't adjust those too terribly often, but something you do adjust very often is the climate controls, and those are all incorporated into the screen, and there aren't any physical buttons for them. Personally, I've actually found this a little bit distracting because there's not a ton of haptic feedback and you don't know what button you're pressing sometimes. So I've taken my eyes off the road a couple of times. What I've tended to do is I set my climate controls before I leave and then I get on the road so I'm not distracted. It gives you a lot of customization for climate controls here, but I don't know if that's necessarily good. Like you have like 2 different ways to do almost everything. For example, I want to turn my ventilated seat on. So I tap this, okay, I'm on ventilated. And if I want to turn it off or turn it down rather, I can tap that and that will turn it down, but I can also turn it up and down from here on the screen. Or if I want, I can drag it up to be heated. And so I can have the heating incorporated in or off. But one thing I've also found a little bit complicated is if I want to adjust something, it doesn't stay on the screen very long. So if I tap the fan speed, I'm like, okay, there's a lot going on here. I just want to turn the fan up. Okay, so, oh, nope, it's gone. Oh, now I'm in the maps, you know. It's a little bit complicated and it definitely takes some getting used to. Now this button right here for the voice command does actually give you the option to set the temperature right here. So you can do that if you want by just talking to the car, it will do that. So that's neat. And it does give you that customization, but I just wish there was physical climate buttons. That would be a little bit easier and, in my opinion, less complicated for the driver, though it is something I'm sure you can get used to. Now this does have Sirius XM, FM, Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto, and a lot of different customizable settings right there. I've just aired my grievances with Lincoln about this climate control setup, and they actually have a record feedback button in here. So this goes right to Lincoln. Since I don't have a Lincoln Way account, I can't record feedback, but I think that is nice. Lincoln has left the door open for its customers to be able to talk to them and give feedback, which I think is really awesome. Now, throwing this thing into reverse, you will get a full 360 top-down camera and a very crisp backup camera that you can zoom in on if you'd like, and you can turn on and off your rear parking sensors. You can also zoom right here and choose where to zoom. So if you want to go right to the corner, you can do that, or like, man, maybe I'm close to a curb here, you can do that as well. It's very, very intuitive. There's a lot of customization, and if you want, you can go to a more fisheye lens view, or you can do that traditional top-down backup with guiding lines that turn as you turn the wheel. I love this system. I think it's fantastic. Really good job. And then if you're pulling into a spot, let's say you're going forward, you can actually tap this camera button down here and it'll give you the front camera so you can see if you're close to the curb. It's really, really neat. I'm very impressed, as I've said, with this camera system. And then next to that button on the panel is the parking assist. So if you're trying to look for a parking spot, it will bring you into parallel park, or it will also park you in a traditional spot if you want. I've used this feature in the past. It's very cool and very neat. So you have that option here on the Corsair. And then further down, you'll have your hazards, auto engine start stop, Ford's new traction control button. It either looks like a tire skidding or a donut rolling away, or perhaps a snail. It could be a lot of things, but it's the traction control off button. And then you do have one physical climate button, which is max defrost. You do also have a physical volume dial, which is nice. I really do appreciate that. Before we move any further down the cabin, this is actually the drive mode selector right here. P, R, and D, and you just put your foot on the brake and you can switch between the gears. It's fairly intuitive, and I actually got used to it very quickly. A lot of cars are doing the buttons now instead of a physical shifter, and then your push button start is right there. The piano black texture is nice, but it is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. Then moving further down here, you can open up this portion. You'll see you'll have a wireless charger and then USB and USB-C right there. Then your drive mode selector and electronic parking brake are here next to two cup holders. Drive mode selector, you just spin this, you'll get slippery, excite, conserve. And then moving further back, you can open up this armrest. There's some storage down there and a 12 volt, which is nice. Moving up here, you'll have an auto dimming mirror, nice little LED lights, auto air refresh, which is a feature to make sure there's fresh air in the cabin. That's also adjustable on the infotainment screen, which is cool. And then you will have the buttons for the automatic vent shade on the panoramic moonroof. Moving to the second row, this is where you'll get the best view out of that panoramic moonroof. And then moving down here, you'll get heated seats, climate vents, and 4 different USB-Cs. The door panels are just as finely adorned back here as they are up front, and the seats just as comfortable. You'll also get this pull-down armrest with cup holders and a lot of legroom, more legroom than I was expecting. I probably have about 4 inches of legroom here at 5'9". This is where I would sit normally. And I have about 2 or 3 inches of headroom as well, which is pretty spacious back here. I definitely think you could fit 3 adults fairly comfortably on a long road trip. All right, driving the Lincoln Corsair. I have had a ton of fun with this SUV over the last week. It is so comfortable to drive. It's incredibly smooth in every way. The seats are amazingly comfortable. On top of that, they have the massaging, which is wonderful, and it truly does drive like a cloud. Now, honestly, I've never driven a cloud, so I couldn't say exactly, but I'm pretty sure this is very close, which is sort of what I expected a Lincoln to drive like. It's a comfortable luxury vehicle, and it lives up to that nameplate. The steering is very nice, but it's not too loose. It's kind of just tight enough, and the cornering is fantastic. You don't get a lot of body roll here on the Corsair, and the overall drive and acceleration is nice. It's zippy when it needs to be, but the braking is also very, very responsive. Let's talk Blue Cruise. That's a system I used a little bit on the Lincoln this week while I was on the highway. It's neat to have hands-free driving, and honestly, it's more of an evolution of the radar-guided cruise control system than it is full self-driving. It'll keep you in your lane, it'll go around corners, and it will slow down if people slow down in front of you. The system isn't good enough just yet to chauffeur you around town, though I suspect eventually we will reach that technology where it can detect things, stop and go. Overall, the Lincoln Corsair is a great little SUV that I would absolutely recommend to anyone looking for a luxury SUV within this segment. I'm frankly surprised at how many features it includes for the price point. Well, that's just about going to wrap up my review on this Corsair. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Before I go, though, I'd like to mention that I'm a Christian, and if you have any prayer requests, I would love to be able to pray for you. You can leave those in the comment section below. And lastly, I like to close out on a scriptural reading. This week, I'm in the book of 2 Thessalonians, chapter 3, verse 13. As for you, brothers, do not grow weary in doing good. All right, guys, I'll see you next time. And remember, no matter what vehicle you have, I hope it lasts you a long time and it serves you well. Take care.